see white lies dancing between the lines. She's an atheist. Carousels in her mind, spinning all in her eyes. She's an atheist.
Hello and welcome to the Digital Freethought Radio Hour on WOZO Radio, 103.9 LPFM right here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Today is May 29th, 2022. I'm Larry Rhodes, or Doubter 5, and as usual, we have our co-host Wombat on the line with us. Hello, Wombat.
Hey, that's me. I'm the Wombat.
All right. And our guests today are Boudreaux from Kentucky. Hello, Boudreaux. We have George Brown, the second and a half, formerly from Brooklyn, now of East Tennessee, and Dread Pirate Higgs, all the way from the west coast of Canada, pretty much. Hey, welcome. Digital Freethought Radio Hour is a talk radio show about atheism, free thought, rational thought, humanism, and the sciences. And conversely, we'll also talk about religion, religious faith, gods, holy books, and superstition. And if you get the feeling you're the only non-believer in your town, well, you're just not. Here in Knoxville, in the middle of the Bible Belt, we have a group of over 1,000 of us. And we'll tell you more about that group after the mid-show break. Wombat, what's our topics today?
We're going to be talking about value and all that comes with it. I think it's going to be an interesting conversation. But I forgot to mention that I'm not just the Wombat. I'm carrying... I was going to make a bad joke. I was saying, I'm the Wombat plus these guns. Let's go. So anyway, that's me.
The transformation complete.
Yeah, we're going to get into a really meaty topics regarding value today and a bunch of other stuff. But before we get into those meats and potatoes, we're going to throw it up to our own Dread Pirate Higgs for our weekly invocation.
Our noodly lord who art in a colander, al dente be thy noodles, thy blood be rum, thy sauce be yum, with meat as they are with vegetables. Give us this day our garlic bread, and forgive us our cussing, as we forgive those who cuss against us. And lead us not into ketoism, but deliver us some carbs. For thine are the meatballs, and the sauces, and the grog, whenever and ever.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Guys, I have been having some fun playing some disc golf. I've been having some fun with, enjoying the weather. I had my mom over here for a whole week last week. Had a really good time showing her around the city, letting her open up my life. I hadn't seen her since COVID. So that was what's been going on with me. And now she's back home. She's safe. We had a great visit. I'd love to hear how everyone else has been doing. Let's go around the horn. Boudreaux, what you been up to? How you been?
Hey, everyone. Been great. 2 shows in a row for me. This is great.
Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Fully tuned bass guitar, or it looks like a bass guitar in the background. Not bad. No, wait, that's not a bass guitar. I feel bad now. That's a five string?
That's five string bass. Yeah.
Okay, let's go. All right. Yeah. Nice. D-Gen.
So actually, I've been playing some Chris Cornell songs with some friends.
Nice.
Just this month was the 5-year anniversary of his death. So we're gonna play a bunch of Chris Cornell songs for some friends, and yeah.
Fantastic.
And I caught COVID.
No, are you for real?
First time.
Right now you're sick?
I'm not sick, but I've tested positive.
So let me tell you the great thing about this. Isn't it great to be sick now when most people are vaccinated? The hoarding has stopped. You can go to doctor's visits. There's plans in place like that. That's how it should be working. Like now, it's not as big of a deal, and I'm really happy for you to get it now.
Yeah.
Than in the rush of it. It looks like you'll bounce back. I did have a funny story about Boudreaux. When I visited his home, he was like, "Oh, you play guitar? You can play guitar." Like he had some guitars on the walls, but they're all like mint condition Taylors, like very high level guitars that you don't just like pick up and strum. I'm like, I don't want to break this. I barely know this guy. I feel like he's setting me up for an insurance fraud sort of situation. Please take back your instrument. Thank you. Dread Pirate Higgs, how have you been?
I've been doing pretty good over the last week, getting lots of stuff done now that we're finally getting some half decent weather. So
nice.
Been doing a lot of catch up. Our spring has been a month and a half behind. So the things that need to be done pile up rather quickly, and so the moment the sun shines, I'm out there getting it done.
But the weird thing is, you have too many hobbies. You're either firemanning.
I'm not firemanning anymore. I that's been done for a while.
I haven't even touched the top of the iceberg. It's the Higgs boson particle discussions, classroom teaching, anarchy, driver's license, rebellion, hosting weddings, fighting off cougars, security guard, tech talk, man.
That's
like,
right.
I don't know what just doing. I'm just getting things done, Ty. It's like that could mean 40 different things for Dread Pirate. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, the latest thing that happened was that I had been issued my security and private investigator license with my tricorn. And
so now you're a Dread Pirate Higgs PI.
That's it. But interestingly enough, and this was in February when I was issued the license. I just got a letter from Security Programs Division on Monday saying, hey, we've made an administrative error. You have to send back that license, and here's the one without you wearing the tricorn. So I wrote him back and I said, hey, look, this is, I told you before that my, this is a passport quality photograph and I'm wearing it because of my religious convictions. And I am seeking counsel because this represents an existential threat to my livelihood and I will not have it.
Good.
So because he said they put a self-addressed stamped envelope in there saying, put your old license in there and send it back by June 5th or something.
Right.
And so anyway, like I said, I'm running with this. I'm going to
Here
council.
we go. Go for it. Go
and
for
the
it.
ombudsman office. And the ombudsman.
Not your job to tell me my religion's silly. Well,
that's
good
it
for everybody or not, or no hats for anybody. But don't start picking.
That's right.
And choosing. That's not your job.
Can't pick and choose.
Can't pick and choose. I dig it. Keep fighting it. Like I said, if I was in Canada, I'd be doing like, get me a license too. I got free time. Give me whatever you want. George Brown, 2nd and a half. Man of mission.
Well, I won't stand for it either. So I'm on your side, Dread.
I'm on Dread's side. It's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Now
you're investigating the investigators. You're watching the Watchmen.
That's right.
So there. Yeah. Now to comment upon Boudreaux's bass guitar, I would say if I were reincarnated as a musician again, I would want to come back as a bass player because I think there's nothing cooler than to play the underpinnings for everybody else. I think that's really cool, like to sit there on the low notes and just dig whatever's going on above. Yeah.
Let's go for it.
I would do that. Yeah. Isn't that cool?
So something.
But in my county where I live, the vaccination rate against COVID is about 41%, if I understand it right. And the dead bodies just keep piling up and piling up and piling up. It's the number that I look at is the COVID death rate. And sometimes when I tell people that I'm concerned about this, they say, oh, the numbers are misreported. The hospitals are getting paid extra money for reporting COVID dead bodies. Yeah. And so when people say stuff like that to me, I check it out. And believe it or not, no less an authority than Fox News said that the numbers were not being inflated by the hospitals. They were being paid. They are being paid extra for COVID deaths, but they're not taking advantage of it.
Yeah. The thing is, why would they get paid to report deaths? Because you don't take care of dead people. You take care of live people who are sick.
Well, the deaths, in other words, the deaths happened in the hospital, so they had to do something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's the coroners that actually record those numbers, not the hospitals.
The simplest thing I've always heard is look at excess deaths. Compare the deaths, this year, to 2019 to 2018. Account for population, and
that makes sense.
Yeah, and when you look at it, we have like 1 million excess deaths from a disease that was largely preventable with just good planning and vaccination in America only.
Even accounting for excess, mental health deaths. They've even seen an uptick in that, and pulled those out of the equation and said, even ignoring this, and highway deaths. We've had more highway fatalities than previous years, even though we've had fewer crashes overall.
Oh, that's weird. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Al,
Look at you.
Yeah.
Is that from your new thesis stats? It's yeah. If we remember correctly, he's doing a touring dissertation on highway public safety. That's some true facts from Boudreaux. You can only get that here. I was going to say this before we transition to the main topic. You may ever want to try buying a violin or a viola bow and playing it with your bass. It actually plays and it. Oh, okay. He's gone. It looks like he's already had the idea.
But what about the basses? Usually come with bow. I mean, people buy bows for basses.
Oh, he's got it already. Yeah.
Yours is a nice short one.
Yeah, that's probably a lot better. Yeah.
This is for the double bass. It's for an upright.
Oh,
bass.
Yeah. When I figured you could do that, I was like, what? So on a bass guitar, you can do it as well. You have to worry about the little bit of the rosin getting on, but it's basically turns your bass guitar into like an electric violin that has like a deep sound. Anyway, you're right, Larry. We thank you for helping us get back on topic.
We haven't even found out what Doubter 5's been up to.
Oh yeah, Doubter 5. What have you been up to? He's been waiting for us to continue.
Yeah, I put a picture up. I actually went to this church this weekend. I didn't internally combust, but it's the first time I've been in a church for a long time. I had to
that's the church.
A funeral. Yes, this is the Big Butter Jesus Church.
Right.
Just north of Cincinnati, Ohio. But it had to sit through the usual sermons that they do in addition to the eulogy to the deceased. And this particular time they were telling everybody what actually is going on in heaven with her, which was kind of a stretch, even I would think, for a Baptist church.
What he imagined.
So the whole story behind Big Butter Jesus, for folks who haven't been catched up on the show, we're a radio show and we play music in between the break. And there's a song that we love on the show called Big Butter Jesus, about a yellow statue of Jesus that is at the location that Larry went to go to church, that actually got hit by lightning and melted and fell apart as if it was made out of butter.
That's true.
They rebuilt.
Yep.
They rebuilt it, but it's also a funny thing where it's like a statue of Jesus being destroyed by an act of God.
Right. I was corrected there. It was what the preacher imagined was happening in heaven rather than what it was. So he wasn't making a claim, as it were.
Okay, fair enough. It's still a weird picture at the end of the day, because you only see Jesus from the back, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, guys, we got emails. I made a friend playing disc golf. He was actually at the Sunday Assembly Nashville. He came to our course and he sent me a follow-up email based on the recommendation of this show, and I just want to share it with you guys. Hello, Ty. I really enjoy watching your podcast. I'll be playing it when I'm on disc golf courses in the future.
Hello, Ty.
Sorry.
Your latest. So he goes into talk. I'm hearing a little bit of an echo. Okay, so he does say, does religion have the capacity to add value to anything? Or does it imply value by devaluing other stuff, such as women's rights, personal freedoms, etc.? And this is the meat of why he's asking that. Your latest show topic reminded me of a show called Severance. It's a streaming show about corporations that can sever your work-life persona away from your home life, in a way creating two versions of yourself. The work-life personas are stuck at work for the rest of their lives and find it a living hell, but can't get out of it until their home life versions agree to set them free. And so there's an interesting comment on value that I'd like to get your thoughts on, given that the home life characters get value by devaluing the lives of the workers. A character on the show stated something that resonated with me. Things have value because we devalue other things. People are no different. So does religion have a capacity to add value to anything, or does it simply imply value by devaluing other stuff, such as women's rights, personal freedoms, etc.? And we'll go round table. Does religion add value to anything, or does it actively add value to anything, or does it operate by devaluing other things and arranging that hierarchy? We'll throw it out to Boudreaux. I'd love to hear what you think about it.
Does it add value? I think yes, it does, in absence of other codes of morality, for sure. I mean, if we were all just born without anything, let's say we were born with just language and that's it. No source of morality or anything like that.
Societal values.
Yeah. I mean, I think it adds value, but at a cost, because like you said, there are catches to it.
Right.
You can add value in some ways, but devalue things like women's rights or and really any of the religions, most of the religions, it seems like they're devaluing other religions, right? Or at least saying if you don't believe in this God or these gods, you're going to have a bad time in the afterlife. So I don't know, that first bit though, I've struggled with that in the past, because I like to think that there's value in kind of just like some of the core morality pieces of the Bible, but also I've been kind of just told that all my life. So I don't know that, I'd love
you had
to.
a religious upbringing, right? Like your upbringing was religious. Right?
Yeah, Catholic, but I don't know. I was never very involved, and I didn't pay attention a whole lot. So I don't know if it's just subconscious or not. So yeah.
Okay. Dread Pirate, what do you think? Does religion add value to anything, or does it operate by devaluing? Maybe a mixture of both?
I don't think it adds value, but I don't think it necessarily operates by devaluing, though in some cases it does. What always interests me is the sort of Mexican standoff between the three Abrahamic religions, where they are, of course, mutually exclusive, even though they all believe in the same God. So, in terms of what Boudreaux was saying is, people make fun or devalue other people's religions to elevate their own. So in that sense, yes, there's a bit of devaluing going on. But again, I was having this image in my head, yesterday with Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad standing in a Mexican standoff position, sort of pointing guns at
So that is just be careful if you draw that. Just be careful if you draw that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, right. I don't want to be hugged or whatever.
Okay, George Brown, love to hear what you're saying. You saw your hand raised. What's up?
Well, that's like a joke, a rabbi, an imam, and a minister walk into a bar,
Right. And
I don't know.
They all got admitted to emergency for concussion.
Yeah.
I don't know the rest of the joke, but I'll start it. Maybe we can make up the rest of the joke among us.
Sure.
But okay, has religion given us anything? Yes, it has, in a way, or at least it has formed a focal point for the arts at different times. I mean, thinking in my own discipline in music, the Catholic Church during the Renaissance was a wonderful arena for musical composition and performance. And then in the Baroque period, the Protestant, the German Protestants gave us wonderful music. And so I have to honor that part of it. And it's all turned to garbage after that, but at least in those periods, and artwork too, I think.
I hear what you're saying. I definitely think it was like a university. It formed a structure where like-minded individuals can get funded to generate some beautiful art, right?
I like that. Yeah.
And then in more extreme cases, the same religions even, are also responsible for saying no music is allowed. You can only sing these holy texts, or no dancing is allowed, or this instrument is too suggestive in its form and is no longer holy, and we don't accept that here anymore. So long, saxophones, stuff like that. So it makes me feel like it's not so much the generator of the brilliance, but instead just got brilliant people in the room for our moment in time to come up with work that they could have made without religion being a part of it anyway. Though I definitely don't think we would have some of the chamber music that we have if we didn't have the religious impact. Larry, would you like to add to this? Do you think?
Well, you're basically saying that inspiration is responsible for it, or this quality of the stories are responsible for it. But it also brings, I think the inspiration is what you're talking about, that brings people together to act on it, to be able to generate music or plays or whatever artwork. However, as far as devaluing, I think it goes a long way to devaluing humanity itself, saying that we're sinful creatures and not worthy of life, as it were, without divinity in it. What is it? Morality itself, societal morality is devalued in the divine command theory, because it says, you can't really be moral if you don't have a moral agent telling you what to do, as represented in their holy books. So it does devalue some things to make itself more valuable.
I would agree, because otherwise you would have been a regular person, but once you fall into a religious dogma, you're now a sinner or subservient to a thing that you can't even see, view, test, talk to, etc. It's a devalue of your humanity. Boudreaux, do you have a follow-up thought?
Yeah, I guess the other, a piece I didn't make, that I think is important, there's a temporal aspect to the question too. If we're talking, thousands of years ago, I like to plug the podcast Hidden Brain, NPR's Hidden Brain podcast. They had an episode called Inventing Religion that went back to kind of a good hypothesis that religion was kind of invented as we grew as a society to where we got so big that people could kind of freeload and they could not do the work, or they wouldn't be caught doing bad things because the group was so big. So they said, hey, just like we do around Christmas time with our kids, we can't watch them all the time, right? So, hey, the big guy in the sky is watching you. So there was a value added there where you had this like punishment for people and an incentive not to misbehave because you told them, you lied to them, but you told them someone was watching you. It kind of it got us to operate in bigger groups, at least more successfully.
I totally agree, and I hear what you're saying, and I'm going to devil's advocate that point too, because it feels like that put our society on the path where you have to have the God fear to be a good person. Whereas I know this is the part where I push, but like if we set ourselves up to where independently we knew the consequences of our actions, that we really made it hard, a diligent matter to educate children on their behavior, their inhibitions, and what it means to be empathetic and in a society where our actions affect other people. Maybe we could have had a society where we never needed to have that God fear to manage our conduct. We could have just had good behaviors from the get-go because we've had it indoctrinated in us to teach our kids to be compassionate members of society. And because we haven't done that, now we're in a situation where, every single time we turn on the news, there's something terrible going on, right? Yeah. I wonder if that could have put us on a better track than where we are now. And now we're trying to struggle to get ourselves caught up. And I think maybe that's the cost that we had, because we took a shortcut.
I agree, except I wonder if it would have taken us a lot longer to get there, possibly. But no, you're absolutely right. It seems like it backfired, or it had some pretty bad consequences.
It would have been a cost either way. I think there's probably no perfect option for that. But I do like what you were alluding to. And then we get to Dread. In fact, let's get to Dread. I'll go back to what you were going for, Eric. What's up, Dread?
Well, I was just going to, of course, point out that value is, of course, an entirely subjective matter, right?
Ooh, talk to me.
So, well, I mean, people who are ensconced in religion will certainly say, yeah, I see all kinds of value to my religion and my belief system. So, are all values valuable? I guess is what the ultimate question is. Like, is there a meta value that we can actually refer to and say these values actually don't kind of match up with a meta value? Say meta value is the advancement or improving the lives of people, generally speaking.
Sure.
In more empirical ways. If that was the meta value, then we could say that the values of different religions may vary as they progress towards that, or don't at all.
I got an epistemological approach to this because I really don't care too much about objective value, but I do care about how we measure value, right? And like the process that we're going to say, this is more valuable than this, or less valuable than that, that I can't ever assess the truth, because I agree with you, Dredd. I do agree that it's ultimately subjective, but I do think we can come up with some sort of objective standard. And lacking that, at least for the sake of this conversation, I can say that if it is subjective to an extent, I can say, let's start off with an even playing field, right? And be like, there's people, there's my car, there's my disc golf collection, there's this empty can of soda that's at my desk. Are they all the same value? If not, how am I going to rank them, right? And then I have like people at the top, and then like my car, and then my items at the bottom or stuff like that, right? But
well,
then,
that's what I was talking about, meta values, right?
Right. And I guess I put people at the top because I'm a person, right? And it's sort of biased in that way, and that's the subjectivity to it. But I do feel like religion takes another step and says, okay, well, it's these people, or it's this group of people who are more valuable than this group of people. And I'm wondering, like, what criteria you're basing that on, other than God said so, or some tribalistic benefit that you get from that belief, because they're going to do the same. That other group's going to do the same thing with their
God's on the top of the list, though. Right? God tells
God
you
he's
on the top.
It's true. God says, don't look at any of the other gods. I'm the one God that's on top. It's like, wait,
I'm the most valuable God.
I'm the most valuable, only one of my thing that is better than all the other things that are here.
That's the first commandment.
It's a terrible first commandment. We'll get into why that could have been beta tested better. We got like 8 minutes before the end. I want to highlight something that you were saying, Eric, in that way back when we had to use religion and had to pass a word of mouth and make that story recorded through volume of people speaking. That was like the best way that we could record folklore and stories of people who aren't around anymore. And in my sense, I think like we don't know what happened on a normal Tuesday in Viking culture, but we know the stories of their gods. We don't know about Egyptian culture, what happened on the fourth month of every year, but we know stories about Anubis. We know stories about Khonshu, all their gods, right? Because that's what gets passed down. That's what gets recorded. And it gives us impressions of their culture. That mythology, as we accept it as a mythology, is what gets recorded. And I think there's value in understanding how people thought, how they set up their values through religion, but we can accept it as a mythology. And what I would appreciate is, can we teach religion now, like the Christian religion and other popular Abrahamic versions, as mythologies, and we just accept it as models that are similar to how other people use those similar models in the past. Just don't teach it as a literal truth, and then it'll be, in my opinion, all value and no devaluing.
Yeah.
If we just like, here's a good story that people pass down as part of human mythology,
right.
And I can
a study in comparative religion, right?
Yeah, and this is the way people thought then.
Yes. The exact same situation is like when we hear the story about Icarus and the wax wings and he's flying up to the sky, we understand the story of hubris from that story. There's a good underpinning of human behavior and psyche and why we should be wary about pride coming before a fall, right? We got that story. We don't have to actually believe Icarus had wings, right? So can we look at the stories of Jesus and be like, glean whatever nice things you want from it, but we know that it's not a literal truth, and then you're happily free to teach that to kids.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some silly things that can go on in there. You can still teach the Moses story, you can still teach the Noah story, but we don't have to accept it as true, and we can still pull useful idioms from it. What's up, George Brown?
Well, I was just wondering if Elon Musk's rocket ship has Dr. Zarkov on it.
I don't know what any of those
Flash
words were. I'm
Gordon.
Yeah.
Yes, Larry. Yes, Larry.
I got it. I got the reference.
Okay. Is that from Doctor Who or something?
No, that's from Flash Gordon.
Oh, Flash.
Yeah, I think it was a 50s.
There was a guy on the rocket ship who was the scientist who just kind of sat there and grunted, you know.
Okay. So I guess we'll do a quick review then before we head out to the break. So we do see some value adds by religions, societal value adds, morality value adds, folklore, recording story adds, And then also we understand that value is subjective. And so there could be some problematic ways of how religion sorts things for us. But if we were to accept religion as a non-real model, or like fiction, if we were to accept it just simply as fiction, maybe we can glean the values that we get from other cultures' mythologies, from the ones that are currently, oppressing us how else can I put it? And then remove ourselves from all the devaluing that comes with subjecting ourselves to a supernatural being, or thinking that we're sinners, or controlling lives of people who should have autonomy over their body, or whether they cover their face or not, etc. I think there could be a lot of value given to us if we just accepted religion as the fiction as it is. And leaving it there, let's go to a break. How about that?
It works. Stay tuned to this channel for the second half of Digital Freethought Radio Hour on WOZO Radio, 103.9 LPFM right here in Knoxville, Tennessee. And we'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back to the second half of the Digital Freethought Radio Hour. I'm Daughter 5, and we're on WOZO Radio, 103.9 LPFM right here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Let's take a moment just to talk about the Atheist Society of Knoxville. ASK was founded in 2002. We're in our 20th year now. ASK has over 1,000 members, and we have weekly in-person meetings in Knoxville's Old City at Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria. Look for us inside at the high top tables or outside on the patio if it's warm and nice as it is nowadays. We're usually the loudest and happiest group, so you can find us easily. We also have a Tuesday evening Zoom meeting, Ask Meetup. If you'd like to join us on Zoom, send us an email at askanatheist@knoxvilleatheist.org or let's chat se@gmail.com, and we'll send you the link for that. You can also find ASK on Facebook, meetup.com, or go to their website at knoxvilleatheist.org. By the way, if you don't live in Knoxville, you should still go to Meetup and do a search for an atheist group in your town. Don't find one?
Start
one.
one.
That's right. Well, wrong bet. What do you want to pick up?
Hey, I want to give thanks to Kay Choi for sending me that email. It was a really good conversation that we had. Kay Choi, good friend of mine from Sunday Assembly. Looking forward to playing more with them in the future. Guys, I had another conversation about atheism as well. This is not an email, it was just a standard conversation we were having. It was based on a comment that Larry made on a show a couple of weeks ago where he was saying that he played WoW, World of Warcraft, which is a long game that has been around for a long time and has been diligently designed and retooled to make itself entertaining for more players over generations now. The thing is, that game was beta tested. That game was very diligently made so that all the mechanics of that world worked, were compatible, and when it was released, was retooled as needed to make sure that the players had a very good and pleasant experience as they were playing. Does not sound like reality. If you look at reality, while reality is constantly retooling itself, it's almost doing it against the interests of life and happiness. And almost every turn and every advent, whether it be climate change or pandemics or just our own societal, manifestations coming about just due to lack of good human behavior. And so I wonder, if you're a God and you're making reality, did you beta test it? And what kind of tools would we suggest that any God would employ in order to sort of improve some of the things that we've been facing recently? Like, what would be your comment section if you had a means of sending concerns to the original manufacturer? And I guess we'll throw this out. Dread Pirate, you got a very stern look on your face. What do you think?
Well, if that's funny. It's a funny question. If God created the universe, how would he know what tools he needed in order to improve it? Like, I don't know. like I always maintain, if there was a God that created the universe, there wouldn't be need for atoms and forces and constants, and we'd all just be made of goop, and it would just all be a magical thing. And
working goop.
Yeah, working goop.
Why do we got to need physics in this? Just make everything work.
It's just magical, right? I mean,
exactly.
And that's why it works so well, thousands of years ago, is because they didn't have an appreciation for the the constituents of nature, outside of Aristotle. I guess he was the first one to kind of start figuring that out. But certainly, in the culture of Jesus and the Jews, they had no idea. Everything was magical, and there was no need for explanation outside of a God created it, and that's all there is to it.
Let me get right to that point too. If you look at a game like Minecraft, which is a very popular game, kids love it. If you don't know, ask your 6-year-old. But that game has things like fire and diamonds, etc. It has different elements and stuff. But fire's just hot. There's no oxidation that takes place in that world's physics. It's just a bit of data that says fire's hot. That's it. Diamonds are hard. They're like one of the hardest things. That's it. It doesn't have to worry about the crystalline structure of carbon molecules reinforcing the rigidity of a structure. No, it's just,
or that it's even made of carbon, right? Or
exactly
anything, right? Yeah.
It's all bits of data that's simple and it states what it is and it isn't broken and there's no way to, cheat through the system. It's just fire's hot, diamonds are hard. What else? What else you got? And I feel like we could have benefited from a simple system like that. Larry Rose, what do you think?
Well, I just want to know why you think this isn't a beta test. No, it could be the virtual reality testing, testing ground for new worlds, and
here's
everything that's going wrong. It's just part of the plan.
So here's my complaint. And this is coming from a person who is making a virtual system for my job right now in terms of like handling paperwork. You always have a survey section at the bottom of the experience where someone can rate the experience from 1 to 5 stars or 1 to 10, whatever you want. And then they add a little comment section detailing the problem that they had. You've seen it from Microsoft. You've seen it from billion-dollar companies that size. You see it as small as little surveys that I'm making. It works and it's helpful and we need that. What do you think, Pedro?
How do you know we don't have to take a survey when we die?
Oh, that would suck, man.
That could be the pearly gates right there.
It's the exit interview.
So if I'm doing, I would love to see that as a movie. That was one. First of all, that's a great pitch for a movie.
The Good Place, that series.
It's just a room and a piece of paper. It's like, feel free to write down all your thoughts and you can milk it for as long as you want if you just want to live in that purgatorial hell, or you can just be like, this sucked. See you later. Bye. I don't know, whatever you want. Free me
throw me back in.
Throw you back in. Powerful, powerful, powerful. So there's some good thoughts there. I love that. That was great. George Brown, 2nd and a half. Are you familiar with beta testing as a concept? And
oh yes, very much so. Remember, I've worked in high tech, and usability testing is usually not in the picture. And I have the proof of it here. This phone made by a company named NUU is the most horrible, user hostile piece of product I have ever used in my life.
Wow.
Because nobody tested it for usability.
Wow.
It's just a totally frustrating experience to try to use this telephone. I'm stuck with it because it's the only flip phone offered by my phone company. And usability to me is a very, very important thing and aspect of beta testing. And in the software world, usability is very rarely a part of the equation. Now it is on the internet. I think Google has it down very well. Their products are very seductive. They are very user-friendly. But in my experience, most software is not user-friendly. And, so as a person who's done a lot of writing, technical writing, I find that the leading word processing programs are just awful to use.
Right.
Because they're just dreadfully user unfriendly.
Right.
Whereas the programs that were user friendly from the days of DOS, wonderfully well handling, they handled like a good professional musical instrument. When you were trying to write, the program Xywrite in particular, XYWRITE, never made it into the world of Windows, the graphical interface. So I find that we've gone backwards.
Right. There's a competitive market. There was a competitive market of both industries and ideas to help facilitate good customer experiences and funnel out the bad ones. And if anything, the ones that are winning still do surveys where they can reply back and say, hey, please fix these things. I hope people read them. If anything, comment forums. But like, we need that for reality, because right now it does feel like reality has not been beta tested, which is what we're talking about today. Swedish Steve, thanks for coming in. Boudreaux, did you have
What do
any
you mean
comments?
by what do you mean by reality?
Don't make me define it. Boudreaux, did you have any ideas on like bugs in reality that you think could have been beta tested out if the system was just a little bit stronger?
Yeah, well, I think the fact that our source of light gives us cancer and you can't even look at it. I mean, like, how? I mean, how is that not just a no-brainer to put a source of light?
Here's the thing, too. It gives us, so, you know, it does that whole nuclear cancer causing thing. But for all the wars that have happened have been energy resource based. If we had just made the sun not cancerous, the light that it gives us non-cancerous, and a little bit more efficient in terms of how it impacts Earth, we would have had all of our energy problems solved. Maybe that could have been world peace like ages ago. Dread Pirate Higgs, PI, what do you got?
I saw you added that in there. That's funny. Well, just the fact that the universe is 99.99999 unlivable, uninhabitable. Right. That's a pretty bad beta testing point there. That you know, it should have been much more habitable if it was to be of any use.
Absolutely. At all. Yeah. Swedish Steve, I also have this one too. This is my personal pet peeve with the state of our reality build right now. There's just twice as many nipples. There doesn't need to be that many nipples. Wouldn't you agree? Like, world capacity of nipples is 2 times higher than it ever needs to be. Like, you could have reduced it in half and everyone would have been totally fine. Been like, oh, okay. That's
but if a woman get twins,
let women have the nipples.
But males have nipples.
Yeah,
we don't need that. Yeah. Just,
males need we need nipples.
Why?
There once was a Kenyan man who started lactating when his wife died.
Yes.
So and for the kinky people with the fetish of BDSM and stuff.
You can buy plastic nipples on Amazon and just put them on you. It's all
I've seen them. Yeah.
When I lactate wine and beer.
Yeah. I also disagree with the concept of it's not a bug tie, it's a feature. It's like, no. It's stuff like that you need to get out of your compiler as soon as possible.
But if you're going to reduce the nipples, then we can reduce a lot of things. Why 2 testicles? Why 2 ovaries? Why 2 kidneys? You only need 1 kidney.
Just one simple one, and then get rid of the thing that would cause
bilateral symmetry.
Streamlining life, right?
Just put it in the middle. Put it in the middle all the way up. You're done to go. Okay, Boudreaux, what do you have?
Can we point out here though that we're arguing against intelligent design when really we should be thinking about the only reason men have nipples and all these other things we're talking about is just a byproduct of evolution, which has no purpose. It doesn't have a goal. We're going to end up with inefficient things. We're going to end up with things that are useless, tailbones and such. So I think in some ways,
that's a good argument against a beta test.
Yeah. Just be like, make the thing that works on the thing that we need to be on and call it that's done, please. It would save us all a lot of problem. Think about all the life forms that didn't make it through evolutionary process. We're lucky that we're here. We're 6 successful organisms to an extent, right?
I was going to say that's a point that Richard Dawkins makes, is that there's far more many ways not to be alive than there is to be alive.
Sure.
Yay,
right. It's staggering, the thought that there's just, even up to today, babies born without fully formed hearts, or people born with malnourished brains, or incidents where if their mothers didn't get enough iron, they now have some weird disease that they can't resolve and they die in the womb, or they die.
Or Alzheimer's even, or
it's
dementia.
Terrible.
I mean, all these things
And Dred, you mentioned something that I still stick with me even to today. It's the idea of, even for a perfectly healthy person, they still have no control of their sensory feeling of pain. And wouldn't it be great to have pain be like a notification on your phone where it's like, yes, I agree, I'm in pain, check, mute for the next 24 hours. I still have other stuff to do. Like, I get it. but you don't have to keep reminding me. It was like, I understand my foot hurts. We're done.
Especially
Looking
chronic
forward.
pain when it's
Exactly.
not a serious illness that's not causing you a lot of harm, but you still have to experience the pain nonetheless.
Yeah. We have a lot of things we would write down in that room. Give me that
Yeah.
purgatory room. I'll write down some bullet points for you. And then I'm checking out.
That's right.
Wasn't that
'Cause if
someone's
you're-
wish list? Didn't someone
Wish
wish
list.
for? We did some kind of a wish list on the program once, and someone said, "I wish we had a checkbox for pain."
Yes, yeah, that was
Yeah, I
Jared.
think it was that conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about it.
So we basically promoted two really good movies before we close out the show. Larry promoted the whole "What if we are in a reality?" and this is the beta test. I love that. I'd watch that. I'd watch that student film for a half hour. I have the attention span for that. And then the second one is you die and it's just an empty room with a survey. It's just a blank piece of paper and a pencil, and it's your exit description form. And you just basically, if you want to, detail all the things that you hated about reality, so that they can, consider your comments on the next build. And then for the most part, it's up to you whether you want to check out our comment. And loved if you want to, sure, why not?
The next universe expansion pack.
The next universe expansion pack. I love it.
Like WoW expansion packs. Yeah.
Guys, we're nearing the end of the show. We got 6 people on here. Let's do a roundtable. Things that you'd like to talk about, or things that you would like for our audience to check out next week, and then anything that you'd like to plug. We'll throw it up to Dread Pirate Higgs, PI first. Anything you want to plug? Yeah.
Well, I didn't bring it down here, but I'm still working on Daniel Dennett's Breaking the Spell, which is an awesome book about religion. And how it's actually addressed to people who are currently in religion or have religious faith. So, and he doesn't pull a lot of punches, which is nice, but at the same time is very articulate and respectful on why people believe the things they do, and why it's a good reason to reconsider your position in the face of evidence. So
nice.
Yeah,
I dig it.
Check that out.
I dig it. Nice. Daniel Dennett, right?
Yes.
Boudreaux, anything you'd like to plug, or anything that you'd recommend we check out?
Yeah. How about something that ties nicely into what we talked about today? A plug for one of my favorite bands, Bad Religion. A lot of their songs are about religion. And one of their songs, Better Off Dead, I'm not going to torture you and sing it, but a quick read of the first, the opening here ties in nicely. Bad Religion, Better Off Dead. I'm sorry about the sun. How could I know that you would burn? And I'm sorry about the moon. How could I know that you disapprove? I'll never make the same mistake. The next time I create the universe, I'll make sure we communicate at length.
Nice.
There you go.
I love it. Swedish Steve.
Bad Religion. Okay.
Producer at large. Anything that you'd like to plug? Anything that we should check out for next week?
No, just help your local abortion organization.
I love it. I do love that. That's a good one, and we need it. If there's something I'd recommend, I know George Brown the second and a half is setting up for a joke, so I'm gonna say my part before he takes the show. But I found a really good story, folklore related, that's also religious sort of thing from Africa, where the comment is between the sun and the moon is more trustworthy, even though it's always telling a lie. The lie that it's saying is that I'm bright, when all it's doing is reflecting the sun's light. However, you can keep an eye on it. And I like that. And that's something I like. So it is lying, but it's also more trustworthy than the sun. So that it's one of those weird colloquialisms. Anyway, George Brown, second and a half.
Well, I decided to put my joke off for another time, but I just want to.
All that build up.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll do it another time when it's more appropriate.
I'm
but I
as
just wanna
disappointed
say,
in that as in religion.
I just wanted to say this flip phone is made by a company called NUU. This is the one that has been frustrating me so much because it is so user hostile. So I want to give them special credit for making the most user hostile consumer product I've ever tried. The company's name is NUU.
New.
So
No.
thumbs down for NUU.
Yeah, no new here. And small correction, that's not an African story. That's a West Indies story, which I just found out I have as part of my ancestry. So that's like kind of cool. Good visit. Like I said, with my mom being like, no, you're from here. It's like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know. Anyway, Larry, feel free to take us out.
Okay, I'd like to recommend that if you're going through the throes of religious deconversion, a lot of times it helps to read what other people have gone through for that. And Reddit has a collection of deconversion stories that I'd like to have people look at and at least be knowledgeable of. It's called The Great Project. And if you just do a Google search on Reddit, The Great Project, it will take you straight to it. This is the Digital Freethought Radio Hour. My content can be found at digitalfreethought.com. Be sure to click on the blog button. You can find our radio shows there, all our archives, our atheist songs, and many articles on the subject. My YouTube channel can be found by searching for Doubter 5 or Larry Rhodes. I have a book at Amazon called Atheism, What's It All About, that will give you the ins and outs what atheist thinking is about. If you're having trouble leaving religious beliefs behind, you can get help at recoveringfromreligion.org. Thank you for joining us on the Digital Freethought Radio Hour. Remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. And remember, everybody is going to somebody else's hell. The time to worry about it is when they prove that heavens and hells and souls are real. Until then, don't sweat it. Enjoy your life, and we'll see you next week. Say bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.